going to be talking about the hero's journey and Joseph Campbell. Now, Joseph Campbell was a very famous historian of religions. Didn't know him personally, but I knew people who knew him. That's 6 degrees of separation from Joseph Campbell, and especially the hero's journey. I've talked about this in general, but I'm also going to break it down into the steps of the hero's journey, and that's what I'm going to be covering, or at least one, and the beginning step of the hero's journey. So welcome to exploring this 12 stages of the hero's journey, where I explore each of the 12 stages and how your screenplay, your story, your book, your memoir, your novel could benefit from them. I'm going to trace down the origins of the hero's journey, tracing it back to Joseph Campbell's original 17-stage monomyth that was inspired by these studies on how the journey of the archetypal hero is shared by mythologies found in different cultures and countries throughout the course of world history. So when people ask me, hey, Doctor of Digital, do you understand my culture? Yes, because Joseph Campbell did all the work. It's the hero's journey breakdown all across the world, all religions, all cultures, everywhere. Joseph Campbell's 17-stage monomyth was conceptualized over the course of Campbell's own text, The Hero with 1,000 Faces, and then later in the 1980s through 2 documentaries, one which introduced the term, the hero's journey. And this was picked up by Christopher Vogler, who's a Hollywood development executive and screenwriter working for Disney. And what he did was to take Campbell's structure and broke down the mythical story structure into 12 stages. I'm going to define the stages in a simplified interpretation. I've done this last time, but if you're just joining us, you can do good work with each one of these stages individually. For this particular episode, number 1, the ordinary world. We see the hero's normal life at the start of the story before the adventure begins. Stage 1, the ordinary world. The first stage, the ordinary world, happens to be one of the most essential elements of any story, even ones that don't follow the 12-stage structure to a T. Here I'm going to offer 3 reasons why writers need to show protagonists in their ordinary world. Number 1, to set up how the conflict disrupts the character's ordinary life. When you open the story within the character's ordinary world, you're establishing their comfort zone, a world that they're complacent with or used to living. That doesn't mean that they're happy and comfortable in that world. Sometimes they are far from that, but we're seeing them in their element at the time the story opens. When the conflict occurs, whether it's a problem to deal with or Campbell's own call to adventure, the protagonist's world is shattered or disrupted at the very least. And the only way we truly notice this is by witnessing them in their ordinary world first, even if it's just a brief window of time within the story. How does this happen, Doctor of Digital, you ask? Well, think about some other productions. Luke Skywalker living on a moisture farm. Sarah Connor working as a waitress. Neo living as Thomas Anderson, a computer programmer and hacker within the Matrix. The Ghostbusters doing paranormal research at Columbia University. Frodo living a quiet life in the Shire. These are all examples of the ordinary world when these protagonists are forced to face conflict within or outside of that ordinary world. They enter the special world that the film, story, memoir, book, novel takes place within, a world that is new or challenging to the protagonists. And this works with drama as well. A film like The Big Chill offers a glimpse of the ordinary world of each of its main characters in the form of the death of their college friend and where they are in life when they are informed and later asked to attend his funeral. If you want a bonus, email me and I can tell you, because I'll show you the very beginning of the film where this is used very effectively for point number 1. Number 2, to foreshadow the story to come. The ordinary world at the beginning of a story offers the writer a chance to foreshadow events to come, plant plot and character devices that pay off later within the story and even allows for the opportunity to present themes and metaphors that will be explored within the narrative. It's the perfect setup place for writers to prepare the reader or audience for the ride to come. Luke Skywalker is always looking to the stars, to the distant suns, and to the adventure that lies beyond his ordinary world. Sarah Connor is a far cry from the savior that she is later told she'll be. Neo, as Thomas Anderson, has always felt that there's something off about the world, and he's heard online rumblings about the concept of something called the Matrix. The Ghostbusters are living a dull and uncelebrated career life. Peter is the screw-up who has no real interest in what they are studying, beyond using university funds for projects to allow him to meet cute college girls. Ray is obsessed with the paranormal. He believes in it all, and he quickly proves that he's an authority on the subject. Egon takes a purely scientific approach to everything. To him, all of life is an experiment, especially the paranormal. This all plays within the context of the story to come. Frodo has heard his Uncle Biblo's stories. He's interested in the book his uncle is writing. Little does he know he's the one who will finish that book for him in the end. You use the ordinary world portion of the opening of the story to introduce themes, metaphors, plants, and foreshadowing to engage the reader or audience once the conflict hits the protagonist hard. Number 3, the last point, to create catharsis and empathy. Today's cinematic interpretation of catharsis can be translated as the feeling we feel after the resolution of the story and the protagonist's overall journey. If a story opens up in the middle of a conflict and we're introduced to the protagonist in the midst of dealing with that conflict, we have no context of who they are or where they came from. So when the conflict is resolved, the reader or audience doesn't leave the story feeling that there's been a cathartic resolution. We've only witnessed a character dealing with a conflict. It may be entertaining to watch them do that in some genres, but the best stories are those that offer a truly cathartic experience. And part of that is feeling empathy for the protagonist. Showing them in their ordinary world allows the reader or audience to do one of the following: sympathize with the protagonist, empathize with the protagonist. You can make people sympathize with your characters. People see their situation and they feel compassion, sorrow, or pity for the protagonist without necessarily identifying with the situation they are in. Writers can also use the ordinary world to offer ways that the average reader or audience member can identify with their character. Maybe they hate their job. Maybe they like their job but feel that something is missing in life. People identify with those things. Whether it's outright sympathy for the protagonist or the preferred deeper level of empathy, those elements set up the catharsis that you want readers and audiences to feel when the story is concluded. Now, have you contacted me? Email me, get a hold of me, and I will give you a bonus story, the article, the single most important element of a successful screenplay. Showing their protagonist within the ordinary world at the beginning of your story offers you the ability to showcase how much the core conflict they face rocks their world, and it allows you to foreshadow and create the necessary elements of empathy and catharsis that your story needs. Hope you've enjoyed this. This is stage 1, and what we are trying to do is going through Joseph Campbell's monomyth applied to the stories, the memoirs, a book, a novel, something that you are going to produce. So getting a hold of me, I can help you with that as well. For this particular episode, it's the end of this one with Dr. Digital. Until next time, stay cold.